arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Tonight we're going to do my 21st live stream Chillin' Chat. So I'm looking forward to joining you guys tonight. Looks like I'm having a few issues with the camera. Hopefully it holds up. If not, I may have to do some adjustments to the camera tonight to make it all work. But we'll see. It looks like it's working right now. So we'll continue with the way I got it set up. And let's say hi to everyone in the chat first. And it looks like we've got Gigi. Good to see you, Gigi. Octoman PCs. Yeah, Biggie D is cool. Down to earth. I appreciate that, Octoman. And Goofyfoot, longtime viewer of all the streams tonight. Biggie is my first choice. I appreciate that, Goofy. There are plenty of other, live streams we could be watching tonight. I know 19 Key Fox is probably still going. And then I think She Lion is even doing a stream right now. So we've got multiple streams tonight. And Brooklyn, good to see you, man. I've also made Brooklyn our moderator. That way, late at night, in the evening, we can have someone moderating the chat. And Papa Brad, Biggie D, us where I am too. Hello, gamers. And then we've had some others join us here towards the start of the live stream. It looks like John Phillips checking in, sir. I'm off tomorrow and I'm up all night. Well, glad to have you, John. I'm glad you've made it. So let's go ahead and get into it. And wanted to start off by just letting everyone know I've got my lights set up yesterday. So it brings a little more light into this studio area where I'm doing my live streams, brightening it up a little bit. And I do like the look of these. I've actually been looking at a few others. I noticed they just released a Defender one at Walmart. So if you guys are looking for the Defender one, it looks like that's a brand new one. Hopefully they'll be coming out with more of these light up signs that I can put on my wall from some of the other games that we play, because I'd like to get some more of these. I think they're a pretty good addition to a game room. Really adds a lot of light and gives you something to look at on the wall, especially if you don't have marquees. A lot of my arcades, I don't have marquees. So these are perfect. They go right above your arcade. Also wearing my Dallas Stars jersey tonight. They're going to be playing during the stream, so I'm wishing them luck against Seattle. It's tied up right now 1-1, and they should have won the first game, hoping they can win tonight. But it is also making it a lot more warmer in here, so if you guys see me sweating a little bit, it's because I'm wearing this hockey jersey, and I live in Arizona, where it's already 100 degrees outside. So little bit uncomfortable, but it's worth it to support my Dallas Stars. And Brooklyn Minutes is saying that the lights look really good. So that's I like how they look for the for the live streams, for the videos, but also when I'm playing the arcade, it gives you a whole nother feel to it. Makes you feel like you're in a real arcade with those lights up on the wall. And Carl O is also saying looks good as well. So let's go ahead and get into Fast and the Furious. That's where I'm going to start the live stream. I know we've been talking a ton about this cabinet now for, it seems like forever. And then it was finally released this weekend. We started seeing reviews rolling in on Saturday, a bunch of them today. That'll continue. Tomorrow, they'll be officially for sale in the store. There'll be people walking into Best Buy purchasing these things. So we're probably going to see more and more content on the Fast and the Furious over the coming weeks. But I wanted to highlight a few things here on the Fast and the Furious and this release and what I've seen. And these are just my initial impressions. So these are what, this is not like me taking all the information we've seen and putting it into these slides. This is just really quick and just to the point on some initial impressions that I personally have from what I've been seeing. And I'm going to start with the positives, and then I'm going to move to the negatives, because I want to start with the good, and then I'll go to the bad. Octoman says it's a meh cab, so it's not like the greatest cab for him, and I'm kind of feeling the same way right now. It's not perfect by any means. There's a lot of things that they could have done to improve it, and we'll get into that. But I want to start with the positives, and the positives are going to be the artwork. So the artwork looks pretty good. There is a review out there right now by Retro Lizard. He has it outdoors, and what's really cool about seeing an outdoor review is it really makes those colors pop, and it really, you can see it better. So if it's in a game room, in a dark game room, and you're doing your review, you really can't see the artwork that well. The colors don't really, they're not as vibrant. But his review is outdoors, so it really shows off the cab, and it really shows off the artwork. And it does pop, and it looks really good. The T-molding looks really good. The color on that really stands out. The BOE screen even looked good. So outdoors, typically with monitor lighting in an outdoor environment like that, you'll have problems seeing what's on the screen. But I was very pleasantly surprised to see that BOE screen had no issues. It was bright. You could play it, and you had no issues seeing it even outdoors. So that's a positive. It is also the most advanced arcade 1-up racer that they've done. We have Ridge Racer and we have Outrun. And they're kind of stepping up their game on these racers each time. They're advancing in these in the games and what we're seeing. So they're going from a lower end game like Outrun, moving up a little bit to that PlayStation level type game with Ridge Racer, and now they're going into like the early 2000s, which would be more like Dreamcast level graphics with this Fast and the Furious. And I think it looks pretty good. They've definitely taken some things out. They've definitely toned down the graphics a little bit so it'll run on their PCB. But it definitely is the most colorful, best looking racing game that Arcade 1-Up has released. Also, the 4-speed shifter looks pretty cool. This is something that's new to Arcade 1-Up. They've only had the 2-speed, the up and down with Ridge Racer. So they're advancing that shifter to this 4-speed. And it's utilizing a 49-way joystick, the same one we saw on the NFL Blitz. So they've been able to reuse that same joystick and create this 4-way speed shifter. And I think those are positives. And then the last would be the no riser. So we've moved to these deluxe cabinets, and we're at the point now where we're not seeing the risers anymore, at least on these Best Buy models. So these are all advancements and all positives for Ridge Racer. Let's see what everyone else has to say here. Octoman PCs. We will be happy to pick one up on BF for $300. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm probably not in the market to go out and spend $600 on this, but on Black Friday, I'm going to be a shopper, and I'm going to be maybe even waiting in line to get one of these things for $300. I definitely think you could enjoy this, and it would be worth it, and you wouldn't feel like you made a bad purchase if you can get one of these at a discount. But I think running out and spending $600 right now on a Fast and the Furious, and we're going to get into the negatives here in this next slide, is the reason, I wouldn't spend that much money. John Phillips has joined us as well. Man, they set the graphic textures to 0 on that cabinet. And it's funny you say that, John. I was looking at some of the gameplay on some of these unboxings and these reviews and shorts I've been seeing over the last day or two. And one thing I compare this game to graphically is it looks very similar, if you guys remember, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And just like the blocky buildings, the blocky cars, it looked really good for when PS2 was around. But that's what it looks like to me. It looks like Grand Theft Auto Vice City. In its comparison, or I'm comparing to those types of graphics. And Greg Johnson said, I decided to wait for it to go on sale by summertime, and it definitely will. We've already seen the class of 81. It's already been on sale. It's gone down to $60 less than what it was originally, and that's only after a month. So give it a month, give it 2 months, and we'll probably see some discounts on this Fast and the Furious. And then as time goes, it'll get lower and lower. And then there'll be those clearance, sell as many as we can, just get them out of here type clearances, which we'll see around Black Friday, I predict. Octoman PC says, I think we all agree the best part on this cab is the shifter. Yeah, that's one of the biggest advancements. The one thing that I've noticed that I like the most about it is the 4-speed shifter. And if it weren't for these negatives, I may be in the market for a $600 cab, because that was something they did right. And Carl O says, yeah, $299 will be fine. Dr. Gott, good to see you. He said, I never anyone request this cab? So no one's ever requested this cab. So why are we so stoked about it? And that makes up a really good point, Dragot, is that, you know, no one in the community was begging for the Fast and the Furious. But I think I have a good explanation for that. And the reason is, and I heard this on 19K Fox's stream earlier tonight, so I want to give them credit when credit is due, but they made a really good point. And they had said that Arcade 1Up is not selling to us, to the community, to the fans of these arcades. They're selling them to Best Buy, Walmart, these retailers. And if the retailers want Fast and the Furious because they like the movie or they think it'll sell in their store, that's what they're going to get. You know, the games that we're hoping that come out, Mortal Kombat 4, Qbert, these games, these large major retailers are not interested in. And and the company has shifted. They've shifted away from the direct to consumer, and they're now wanting to go to these retailers, give them what they want, so they can then just collect their money and be done and move on to the next one. And Papa Brad's Gaming, N64 looking graphics. So he's comparing them to N64. I was comparing them to like PS2 level graphics, like Grand Theft Auto Vice City is what it reminded me of. Octoman PC says, at Papa Brad's Gaming, yeah, he said the steering wheel is horrible. So we've got some reports then of the steering wheel, and that's what I want to go into next are these negatives. And one of my negatives was involving the steering wheel. So the marquee does look washed out. So you got these bright, colorful graphics, you know, on the side panels, on the front, in the steering wheel area. And forgive me, guys, if I'm a little more excited for the negatives than I am the positives. It's because I enjoy doing these streams. I enjoy getting the information out to my audience. Potential buyers that potentially may be spending money on these. I want to get that information to them. And that may be why I sound or I am more excited about explaining these negatives, because I'm trying to help you, the audience, save money and make good decisions when you purchase these. But the marquee does look washed out. It is, if you look at any review, you look at any short out there right now, you're going to instantly see the color difference between the side panels, the front panels, and the marquee. It's just hardly any color to it. And I know sometimes the cameras can wash those out a little bit, but this is noticeable. It's extremely noticeable, and you see it in every review. Even in the reviews, these people are saying that the marquee doesn't look that great. And after all this time and all the complaints they've heard and all the potential buyers that had, you know, passed on these or went to Zabo's Arcade to upgrade them later on, you would think that this would be a point or something that they would be working on to make sure that they get this correct. But it continues to be something, and it continues to be an issue on their new releases and new products. Also, the steering wheel has little rumble to it. So there is a rumble feature within the steering wheel, but it doesn't seem to work very often. You may feel it just slightly every few minutes here and there, but it's not a constant rumble when it, like what you think of when you think of a rumble feature, like on your controller and you're playing a game and it's constantly, you're feeling that rumble feature whenever you hit something or something hits you. It's not like that in this game. It's just random rumble feature, and it doesn't seem to make much sense. And it's often not even noticed that there is a rumble feature because you don't ever feel it. Also, there's no link instruction. So what I'm explaining here is you're supposed to be able to link these cabinets together, up to 4 cabinets. They've been advertising it on their promotional material. They're advertising it at Best Buy. Link these cabinets together by multiple. But if you open the instruction booklet, there is no instructions on how to link these cabinets. So you're basically having to figure this information out on your own. Or if you're lucky and you're subscribed to She Lion, I think you could have gone on her live stream tonight and figured that information out tonight. But currently there is no official information from Arcade 1Up on how to link these cabinets. And that's just unacceptable, I believe. Someone spending $600, you're advertising the feature in your promotional material. You have to have some type of documentation within the manual or an extra manual of some sort that you could refer to figure out how to link these cabinets, and they didn't even include that information. So that'll be something they're going to have to go back now. They're going to have to create that information on their website or on the app, and you'll have to get it from there. I just another thing like we've been seeing on previous releases that they've missed and should not have been missed. Also, missing cars. So if you go through the menu system, it's like a circle, and you can turn the wheel left to right to select your different cars. You're going to notice most of those, or half of those spots, are empty. There's nothing in them. And that's because those cars were not included in the game, or you're not able to race them and use those cars in the game. So I feel like that was a big misstep, and we knew about this well ahead of time. We've known this for a couple weeks, that it was missing these cars. But to see it in person and to see it in these videos and to just see the missing spots on the wheel, it just really hits home as far as the cars being gone. I feel like they could have at least compacted that wheel and removed those empty spots, because it draws even more attention to those cars missing when they're empty like that. Also, it's a scaled down experience. So this game has been reworked. It's been modified by Raw Thrills to run on the Arcade 1-Up PCB, which is a, let's be honest, it's not the strongest PCB. It's not the most powerful in the home arcades. It's the least powerful, and they're trying to make a game that had really good graphics run on this PCB. So they've had to scale that game down and rework it. And I see Carl O has mentioned in here NFL Blitz. They had to do it similar to NFL Blitz, where they had to remove the late hits. They had to remove some of the advertising in the game. The graphics they're not exactly the same as what you would experience on the arcade. But the same thing with this. They're having to, take that game, reduce it down to a smaller experience to get it on this hardware. And so that, just be expecting that. Be expecting these. These are just my initial impressions. Just kind of real quick. Didn't put too much thought into these. I'll be later probably doing a video, and maybe in my next live stream get into more detail on some other things that I notice, or dig a little deeper into these topics. But tonight I'm just kind of giving you a quick readout here of a slide on what I think is negatives. Marquee, steering wheel, no instructions on how to link it, missing cars, and a scaled down experience. And Octoman, incoming console fanboy clickbait video on how to unlock missing cars. LOL. So yeah, those videos come out a lot on how to, by console fanboy, on how to create games. It's obviously all nonsense. It's just clickbait. I agree with you on that. Steps Gaming. Oh yeah, it's the #1 home arcade stream. Biggie D's Arcade, America's #1 Kraken fan. I hope I said that right. Kraken fan or Kraken fan. But hopefully the Stars win tonight. I just got a text from my father, who's a big Stars fan, and he didn't seem too happy. And I think they may be losing right now. I haven't checked to see what the score is. Papa Brad says She-Line's coverage of the cab shows how confused, stale, and lost Arcade 1-Up is on working with content creators on YouTube. This cab will be $300 before you know it. And Carl O said, I asked over and over, and no one knows the PCB in the cabinet. Why is that? So I've seen the PCB. It doesn't have an Ethernet port. It's got a USB-C or a USB input, one of the two. I think it's a USB-C. And from what I've heard, that you can link it. You can link it with a USB-C to Ethernet adapter, plug that into your router, then get another Ethernet cable, run that from your router to your second Fast and the Furious, get another USB-C to Ethernet adapter, and supposedly you can then link them that way. And Brooklyn Minna said, removing all the content makes it a waste of time being an Arcade 1-Up cabinet, because the whole point is getting the entire arcade experience. And that's true for many people. If it's a reduced experience, people aren't going to be interested in it. So I think the common agreement in this stream, or at least what I've seen from these comments in the live chat, and also my opinion, is wait it out. Try to get a lower price on these, especially if you want to buy multiple. just wait. Don't drop $600 right now on this. Give it even a few weeks, and it may be even 50 to 100 less, like Class of 81. And Steps Gaming says, are you getting this cabinet, Biggie? I know several people are hyping this that are not getting this. So I am personally not. I was interested in it. I'm still somewhat interested in it. I'm not going to be purchasing. I'm going to wait it out, and I'll probably be a buyer in November and Black Friday, and I'll be getting it for half the price people are paying for it today. And hold me to that. And Carl's saying hold the line. I say hold me to that. Let's see on Black Friday, and let's come back to the stream and rewatch the stream and see, is it $300 on Black Friday? Because I bet you it is. And Papa Brad said, get the deals. So let's move on now from Arcade 1Up. My channel's become less and less Arcade 1Up and more iiRcade and At Games lately, because those are the arcades that I'm playing the most. I've since kind of moved away from Arcade 1Up. I was actually considering maybe selling my NBA Jam and selling my Final Fight, but I found a decent place upstairs for the Final Fight, so I'll keep that. And my new spot I found for the NBA Jam over here in the corner seems to work pretty good, and I'm not quite ready to give up on it. But if I'm going to expand my arcade, I'll eventually have to get rid of something. But I want to move on to iiRcade. And iiRcade has been working with Glen. I did on my last live stream a video of his showing how Operation Wolf works on the iiRcade. That was pretty big news. That was huge news to find that out. We also had Glen on the Friday night iiRcade show this last Friday on Brooklyn Menace's channel. And we got to do an hour-long live stream with Glen, got to ask him questions on the new control deck. And I put together a little bit of a slide on just takeaways that I had from that interview, and I wanted to get into that. And keep in mind, Glen is doing this, and I found this out. This is not his full-time job. This is a part-time job for Glen, and he still has a full-time job he does every day. He's got a family. He's got all these other responsibilities, but he's finding time to create this control deck or control panel for the iiRcade. So we, as iiRcade owners of the Gen 1 or these RetroMania cabinets, are able to play the Operation Wolf game or any send-in light gun game with his new control deck. So he's been doing this on his own time, and he's accomplished it. We're now able to purchase this deck and have the USB inputs necessary in order to plug in a send-in light gun. So I made up here just a slide, which we'll get into here in just a second, on takeaways from this live stream and things that I took from what he had to say. So let's go ahead and get into it. And the first is going to be the price is to be determined. So there's still no price on this game deck or control panel. I don't know yet what he's going to officially call it. So I'm just going to call it control deck. We'll call it the iiRcade control deck. But there's still no price on it. I'm hoping it's going to be around $200. If it goes over to $250, $300, I'm probably going to wait a little while, maybe see if there's a sell on them, because I got to make it work and make it feasible for me, right? I paid $400 for the iiRcade. I pay $200 for the control panel, and then I pay, let's say, $200 for one send-in light gun. So I've already paid $800 at that point, and that was the price of the goal. So I've got to weigh my options. If it starts going over that, and I'm into like the $850, $900 total price to get this whole package and to get everything I need, then I'll probably wait it out. But if it's less than $200, I will buy it on day one. You guys hold me to that. Mark my words. I will buy it day one. I'll pre-order it if it's less than $200. And Brooklyn Menace said, I can understand the cabinet not being 100% accurate for license issues. I think we already went over that. Here, Carl O. 4K ALU, 4K ALP are pre-order? No way. No way. That's new information to me, Carl. If that happened today and I didn't see that, that's incredible if we're able to pre-order those already. I'll be looking into that as soon as I get off the stream. $2.99 iiRcade deal, all over that. And we're going to get into that $2.99 deal. I'm definitely thinking that's an incredible deal. Anyone who has not purchased an iiRcade yet should go out and get one. They got to be losing money at $2.99. Papa Brad, yes, but because of At Games has proven itself to me over the years with quality improvements. And I think they're referring to me moving more towards iiRcade and At Games content, less Arcade 1Up, because of all the improvements and the things that they've been doing to advance their platforms. And let's see here if we got any comments here on Glen's game deck or panel. Carlos said Glen saves the day again on Arcade 1Up, wishes they had someone there 1/100th as talented as him. And I agree, he is talented. To be able to do this in the limited amount of time he has in his day and to still accomplish something as big as this, and to do it without anyone knowing, you know, doing this behind the scenes without any recognition, and to have that motivation to get through that and to complete this game deck and make it happen and make our dreams come true, basically, is incredible. Octoman PC, he said this hobby gets expensive really quick, and it does. And I started adding up the iiRcade, the control deck, the guns. Then you got to buy the game. Everything adds up, and you really look at the big picture. And that's why I look at every dollar I spend, every $50 or every $100 is important to me, because it really adds up. And we're limited on these. These are toys. These are expendables, things that we use expendable income on, things we don't have to have. So I'm always looking for a deal. Papa Brad said less than 200 would be an insane value. And I'm hoping it is less than 200, but it's going to be hard with everything we're getting with the buttons, the stick, the trackball, the spinners, the extra board we're going to need to make this work. All those things are going to probably be over $200, but hopefully they can get it under. Steps Gaming, I think the deck has to be $200 or it's going to be hard to get the quality components. And that's true because he's using excellent quality components with this. And we want to still get that, but we want to get a good price. And Gigi said Glen's deck is a day one purchase and it's worth it. And Biggie D's king of the deals. Yes, Carl, always looking for deals. And so next slide I want to cover here, or this is going to continue in the same slide, but is another thing that I took away. And that is pre-order start next week. So we're very close now to being able to pre-order it. We may even be able to pre-order starting tomorrow, but I know he's still trying to figure out that price. And I think you have to have a price in order to pre-order, right? Unless he does like a $50 hold or something to pre-order, and then he refunds you that when you buy it. Jason M. Carlo, what are you referring to with the ALP, ALU 4K pre-orders? I want to know that as well, Jason. I haven't heard anything on that yet. And if that's available, that is huge news. That's something I should be covering tonight on my live stream. So hopefully that's true. I want to get one myself. I'm very interested to know the prices on these. Also, Jason M said those aren't supposed to be available for pre-order until this summer, and I see no news on it myself. I haven't seen any news yet either, Jason, and I do know they said these are going to be available around November. I think we probably will see them in September at Cleveland Gaming Convention. But we may get more details before then. Around the summertime sounds about right. Carlo said, yeah, I meant they are worthy of a pre-order. Okay, so clearing that up from Carlo. He's just saying these are worthy of a pre-order if you get the ALP or the ALU 4K. Absolutely. Because they're going to be limited and you're going to pretty much have to pre-order those. Now, the next takeaway was there's one design for both iiRcades. So originally they were going to have a Bluetooth design for the Gen 1s, and they were going to have the USB input, just standard USB input on the Golds, because the standard did not have a USB input. So they had to work around that and get Bluetooth to work. Well, they weren't able to achieve that, or it wasn't up to their standards as far as the precise accuracy of these guns. So they went away from that. They were able to include an extra board, which has the USB input. We just plug it in And it's now just one game deck, one design for both iiRcades. And that's really good. It just makes it more mainstream, more easier to produce when you have just one design, and mass produce these, you know, in just one design, rather than having to think about how many do I produce for the gold? How many do I produce for the standard? They can just make as many as they think they need, and they don't have to consider that anymore. And then the fourth takeaway was you may have to drill a hole for your USB input on the standard edition. So in this image, and it's funny when you get the image for the gold, sometimes we get on to Arcade1Up for their images not being as accurate as the official arcade is when we get it in our homes. Same thing with iiRcade. You don't see the USB input on the front control panel there. I believe that is called the J panel on the Arcade1Up, I believe. I've drilled holes on my, if I go back here, you guys will see right here, I drilled holes on this panel on my Arcade1Up, so I could have coin buttons on the front. Well, the USB input is in that same area on the iiRcade Gold. Well, Glen's wanting to have that USB input in the same area on the standard edition. So there's two options. One, he can include that panel with your game deck, which is going to raise the price a little bit, but it's going to make it more easier for like just regular Joe to go buy this and install it and not have to do anything. It'll be plug and play basically, and you just slide in a new panel. Or the other option is save a little bit of money and have us drill our own holes for the USB input on that front panel, or not have it on the front at all and just have it hanging off the side or out of the back of it. So it sounds like we may have to drill the hole to get it down into the price that we want it, or we pay a little bit more for that extra panel. You guys let me know out there, what do you think is the better choice? Are you willing to pay a little bit more, a little extra, just to make it an easier install and just plug and play, where anyone can do it? Or do you want it to be more for the modding community and the people that do make these modifications on plenty of arcades, have drilled holes before and feel comfortable with it? What do you guys think? Brooklyn Menace said here, he goes, I just thought of something. What if the next revision of iiRcade cabinets comes with Glen's control deck? I didn't think of that, but that could be the holdup on why we're not seeing new ones out there, is that they are planning on just including those with all of their arcade cabinets in the future. And it would make a lot of sense if they could pull that off, because everybody wants a trackball, everybody wants spinners, and the Gen 1 guys want the send-in light guns. Papa Brad says it does make sense. And Brooklyn, could this be why they're selling off what's left? That is a very good theory, Brooklyn. I would be interested to find that out and know that information, because that would all make sense. JR said, Brooklyn, that could be why they currently have no plans to manufacture new cabs. He may be on to something. Papa Brad's Gaming says, AtGames had the right idea with its control panel on the ALU, gives the user a wide range of controls to play many different types of games. Absolutely. Atran Fanatics joined us. Good to see you, Atran. He said, I want to make my coin doors light up and be the credit buttons. That would be cool. Yeah, have a light up credit button. And let's see here. Papa Brad says, keep it cheap and I can drill the hole. I'm kind of with you on that, Papa Brad. I mean, it's super easy to drill the hole. I already got the tool I need to do it from my previous cab. So it wouldn't be too much of a deal for me, and it would save me money. Now, I think I may have a solution that I just thought of here live on air, is why not have the control deck be $200, let's say, and have that J panel, or the panel we need to drill, as an extra, like an extra item that you can add to your order. So like an extra $50, you can get a panel already with the pre-drilled hole. Or if you feel like you're comfortable drilling your own hole, save the $50. But give everyone the option, because I think there's a ease of use, right, is very important when launching a new product. You want it to be attractive to all buyers or all potential buyers. Some people may be deterred by having to do certain things like drilling holes. You just want it to be super simple where you can follow the instructions. Anyone can do it. You know, that there's, and I think they can find a way around that by just offering that panel separately. Step says, I've drilled holes, we're good. And Atrian says, no input as I'm not into the iiRcade. So Atrian hasn't purchased yet on the iiRcade. Maybe he'll end up getting one someday. I know many people out there still don't have one. And if it weren't for P-Dub selling me his used one, I probably wouldn't have gotten one until this weekend. So, you know, I was kind of lucky in that I got a used one for a decent price. Brooklyn said it makes sense because when iiRcade first came out, the control deck they used made sense. But with the growing game base since then, they need to move more to the control options. And that's true. They have these games now that are designed for shooting. They're going to have trackball games. They're going to have spinner games. And they're going to want out of the box their entire arcade to be able to play those games, because then they sell more games. They make more money in the long run. Papa Brad's Gaming says, if iiRcade releases a cheaper, high-quality cab, they will do well with a good library of games they currently have. I think the gold was expensive, and I have one, and I like it, but it was expensive. And that's true. It was a lot to put down. And then my... you know, it was originally $1,000 and then it went down to $800, but even $800 is a lot of money. And then my fifth thing that I took away from this interview on Friday was the ability to hook up your standard edition cabinet to your ALU, the At Games Legends Ultimate, for a second screen. So this was incredible. And basically what he was doing is he was plugging, and maybe we can see it in this video here I have of the Friday night arc. Okay, yeah, you can see it here. So you see the standard edition iiRcade to the left. You see the Tron ALU to the right, and it's displaying the same exact thing. What he's done is he's just taken his HDMI out and plugged it into the ALU, and I think you put it in OTG mode. I haven't learned this yet, but it's OTG mode, I believe. And then that displays whatever you were seeing on the iiRcade on your ALU, giving you a little bigger screen. And let's be honest, guys, the iiRcade screen is okay. It's all right. I'm not unhappy with it by any means, but it is a TN monitor, and it can look washed out from extreme angles. But the At Games Legends Ultimate screen is perfect. I mean, it's very good. It's better than the Arcade 1-Up screen. And I was very surprised to learn that when I had purchased my At Games. So this is incredible. I can now put my iiRcade directly next to my At Games, and I can play Operation Wolf, I can play Operation Thunderbolt, or any of the other shooting games on my Legends utilizing this technology, possibly giving me a little better screen, but better quality screen, which is what I believe is most important. So if you have both of these, this is huge news. I know it was huge news for me, and something that I'm really interested in is the ability to hook up my iiRcade to my At Games Legends Ultimate to play these send and light gun games. Carlo, he said At Games Chill and Chill with Biggie D and Carlo. And Papa Brad said At Games has the best home arcade screen. And you guys, if you don't own either one of these, you don't own iiRcade, you don't own an At Games, you just own Arcade 1-Up, we are speaking the truth. They have the best screen. It is by far the clearest, best color, and biggest screen out there. And Octoman PC says, yeah, At Games really stepped up and surprised and impressed with the pinball machine for $400. That one has a great screen as well. And they're about to upgrade to even a better one with the 4K. So in the future, it's only going to get better, guys. And what's good about this stuff is with these two companies and the ability to play them together like this is they're as things advance, so are these companies. You know, they're coming out with new technology with the 4K screens coming up. So there'll be plenty of other ways to play these shooting games on even better screens in the future. And JR said, what if iiRcade moves away from hardware altogether to focus on software, and future iiRcade cabinets are completely manufactured by GRS? And JR, you are on to something. We've been speculating on this quite a bit, especially Kev Gret and I in these live streams will really get into some speculation on what's happening behind the scenes. And we are both in the belief that they're partnering up with another company. It could be GRS or it could be someone else to design and produce the cabinets where they only focus on the software. I even brought up the point towards the end of the Friday night iiRcade stream. What if they're going to be totally abandoning the hardware altogether and they just give us something we can install on our computer? And it's a kind of like Steam, but it's an iiRcade similar to Steam platform on our computer. And then we just plug our computer into an AtGames Legends or, whatever TV we want to put it on and play these games. Just giving us more options and more ways to expand and play these games. And then they can focus on what they do best. They seem to not want to be too dependent on these, building these arcade cabinets, developing them, and then getting them out. They could totally abandon that, just have the software, and then we find our ways of how we want to play them. Octoman PCs. Arcade1Up has AtGames crushed in the license department. That official product with the outwork is a selling point. Generic cabs, no matter how good they are, just can't compare to the official stuff. And that is true. Arcade1Up still has the licenses. They still have these major big times licenses. But some of the problems they've been running into with these, like we saw with Fast and the Furious, is there's only 2 games on that cabinet. And that's only going to last so long. The enjoyment of those 2 games will only last so long to where you're going to start wanting to find other options. Do I mod the cabinet? Do I go and buy another Arcade1Up cabinet when they release another game? Do I have the room to buy another arcade cabinet every time they release a new game? And that's where I'm running into. That's where I'm running into issues, is that I'm running out of room. So I'm buying less Arcade1Up. I'm buying more AtGames, more iiRcade, because I'm getting more bang for my buck. I'm limited on my room, and I'm going more towards this multicade experience. It's and I see the community doing this too. It just naturally will happen, because as we run out of room, we're going to naturally move towards and be attracted to these multicades, even if it doesn't bring us that nostalgic feel that we want and that we felt when we first got our don't get confused, we first got our Arcade1Ups. That nostalgic feeling was just something we hadn't felt before, right? And they can't do that as well with these other ones, iiRcade and AtGames. Octoman PC says, in the end, we got the crap out of these cabs. We just need the wood cabinet. And that's true. And that's where I'm at. I'm starting to get to that point where, what do I do, like with this NBA Jam? Do I just keep using it for this spot? Or do I mod it and I do something different with it? Or do I sell it and I buy something different entirely? Papa Brad's Gaming says, AtGames has bring your own games with CoinOpsX is a beast. We're about to get into that. So let's go ahead and move on. So iiRcade Operation Thunderbolt was released this weekend on Friday during Game Day's live stream. This was a total surprise to everyone. I did not think we were going to be getting another new game, because they had released a game, this car game, this maze game, totally not interested in it. And then we had the Glen's game deck announcement officially, and I thought that was going to be it. I thought that was enough for a 30-minute, hour-long Game Days live stream. I didn't think we were going to get another game at the end, but we did. We got Operation Thunderbolt, the second game in this Operation Light Gun lineup. There's another one behind it, which we haven't gotten announced, called Operation Wolf 3, I think it's called. But let's look, before I start that, let's look at this video here, guys. This is just a little introduction video that iiRcade put together of Thunderbolt.
Operation initiated. Rescue all hostages.
All right, guys. So that's Operation Thunderbolt. And so this is the second game in the series of the Operation shooting games. It's a two-person game. It's new, as you can see, new stages, new story to it. And I think the graphics look a little bit better on this one. They advanced the graphics a little bit. But I do remember this one just as well as I remember the first one, especially that the plane at the end. I remember that very well. So this was released on Friday, and it's giving us our second game that we can play with the light gun on iiRcade. There's going to be many more in the future. This is just the second or third week, and we've already got our second game. Atran, I wanted to comment on this. He said, Biggie D's Arcade, we need to meet up at Starfighter's Arcade sometime soon. Definitely want to take you up on that, Atran. I think I'd added you on Facebook. Send me a message on Facebook. Let's get that planned out, because I haven't been to Starfighter since I moved to Glendale, and I want to go back over there. Be good to meet up with you. Papa Brad's Gaming says, I like the art nostalgic feeling of arcade one-up cabinets, and that's a good point. I still miss that, in my at games in my arcade. I miss that, the artwork matching the game and just pressing the start button and the game coming up quickly, and you're playing the game and it matches the artwork. There's something to be said about that, and that's something that Arcade 1-Up does do very well. Brooklyn Menace said, I knew Thunderbolt was 100% happening because I kept my mouth shut. I didn't know it was coming this past Friday, though. So he had inside information that the game was coming. He just didn't know when, and he had to keep that, in silent on that. He didn't want that information getting out. Carlos says, which one do you like best, Brooklyn? Octoman PC says the ALU performs better, but the Arcade 1-Up looks better. In the end, we all have these games on MAME on our PCs for the last 20 years. It's just cool to have something official looking. And Brooklyn said here, they are both great. Operation Wolf is way more difficult, but Thunderbolt is more fun to score chase, and you get one shot to get a good ending. So yeah, it's giving you a different type of game altogether in the way that you play it and the difficulty. So it's a nice change of pace. And Adrian said, cool, sounds good. Looking forward to doing that sometime. Yeah, send me that message. We'll get that set up where we can meet at the same time up there. I really like their setup there and all their pinball machines. They got a ton of pinball machines there. Carl O said, you guys act like you like the cabs and make love to them. It's about the screen and marquee and the game itself. I'm getting more to that point, Carl. And Sam's Arcade, good to see you here. He said, iiRcade is heading the right direction for the community, 100%. Yeah, we heard it tonight. If you guys listen to 19K Fox tonight, in the panel he had on there, iiRcade is the subject, and it's a large part of what even the major content creators are speaking about. It's not that I'm this ultimate iiRcade fan. This is the news right now. So the next thing I wanted to discuss is CoinOpsX. So I did finally get CoinOpsX installed on my AtGames Legends Ultimate. I ran into a couple of issues along the way, and I'm pretty technical. I do IT for a living, so I shouldn't have difficulty doing these types of things. But I did run into a couple issues, and I think I just didn't read the instructions thoroughly enough, or maybe I missed a step or two. But at first, I couldn't get there's a program that you have to use to get AtGames Legends working, and it's called the Add-on X tool. And you get it directly through AtGames. And basically what that does is it builds your build, your CoinOps build, to work and be compatible with the AtGames. And it kept going through the entire list, and it takes 45 minutes to an hour to get through this Add-on X tool to build it. And I got all the way to the end, to the Z's, and then it would just shut down on me, and it would stop and just close on me. So I couldn't figure it out, and I kept building and building, and it, an hour each time over multiple days. Couldn't figure out why it was closing on itself. Well, evidently it was my antivirus software. So you have to disable your antivirus software. Otherwise, this Add-on X tool cannot communicate with AtGames, because after it builds everything, it sends something off over the internet to them to finalize it. And if you have even if you do exceptions, I thought maybe if I do an exception to the Add-on X tool, it'll work. Even that didn't work. you have to disable your virus software if you use AVG. I've learned that. There may be other virus software out there you have to disable as well. But as soon as I did that, it completed no problem. First time I tried it. Also, something else I ran into is there's what's called a COX folder, COX folder. And the way the build that I downloaded it came with multiple folders. So it had a COX folder, then it had another COX folder. And in that folder, it had all the artwork, it had all the images, it had the previews of the games, like the video previews and the sound and all that. So whenever I launched it, it didn't have any of that. It didn't have the sound. It just had the text of the games and just a generic CoinOpsX on every arcade. So I found out you have to delete the COX folder within the COX folder. So basically, there's two COX folders. You're going to go into the second one. You're going to copy all that contents out of there. Cut it would be even better because it's quicker. And then paste that into the first COX folder and delete that second COX folder altogether. No reason for it. And then it'll work. And I know that probably sounds really confusing to y'all out there if you're just listening to this live stream. But if you guys get into doing this, maybe you'll remember me saying this. And if you go to Wagner's Tech Talk, look under the troubleshooting steps. He's got one of the troubleshooting steps is this exact thing I'm explaining. So don't miss that. And if you're missing artwork or you're missing cab previews and all that, which we're about to show, that's why. Is because you just got to delete that second folder, move everything out of that into the first one. But here it is running on my @Games Legends Ultimate. I did a short on it today. It was really cool, I think, in how it was set up. Each cab, and there's so much time, there's so much dedication, so much work that went into this build. Each game has its own logo, it has its own marquee, it has a video preview, and it has a sound preview. And most of the games even have the control deck for that game showing you the layout of the buttons and the joysticks. So see there on Mortal Kombat, we can see now it has a Mortal Kombat game deck. So they even went that far as to changing those out on most of these games. And it's just incredible how much work went on behind the scenes to get this put together. I know Photoshop pretty well. I'm a graphic designer, and I just know to get these PNGs for every single logo was very time consuming. And to make sure every file worked, it just would have taken them months, years to do this. And we're getting it for free, basically. We're getting to reap the reward and all the work that they did. And it's a lot of fun. I love this CoinOpsX. I finally got it working the way I wanted it on Friday night. And I was playing on Saturday, a lot of the days Saturday. I even played some today. The games that I've been enjoying the most is Golden Tee, though, because it's got the trackball. And the Golden Tee games actually play exceptionally well. There would be no reason for me to go out and get a Golden Tee or a Golden Tee XL now, because I can play it on my @Games and it plays, I feel like, perfect. I wouldn't have a need for an Arcade 1-Up version of that now. And then also they categorized all the games. So they got your light gun games, your beat 'em ups, your shooters. Basically, they even have like a Capcom section. So you have all your Capcom games in one section. Makes it pretty easy to get to. And then something else I use a lot is the last played. So if I go to last played, it'll be all the games I've been playing, and those are going to be my favorites. So I can always go back to those. One thing I don't like is it's not super easy to customize. I'll have to kind of learn and research how I can customize this, because I want to actually remove a lot of these games that I'm never going to play. There's a bunch of, like, let's be honest, just crappy games that, you know, we've never heard of that are on this build, and I want to get those off. So it makes it easier for me to find the games that I want. Jason M said, hundreds of new games coming, thousands of new marquees, bit LCDs, one update, bezels, cabinets, covers. Watch for it in 2023. So there's going to be some better and bigger builds coming here in the future. I saw the Awesome Sauce build. It's like 1 terabyte. It's incredible. All the time and effort people are putting in for our enjoyment so we can play these. Octoman PC says, try Arcade Punks. I did look at Arcade Punks. It looks like you have to register. I haven't used them yet. I've been using Internet Archive, I think it is, to do my downloads. Carlo said, play Arc Rivals and hit the ice, Biggie D. I've been playing a lot of the NHL game. It's like NBA Jam, but it's the NHL version, and it's so much fun. I didn't even know that game existed. And Atran said, I turned off my antivirus and firewalls on my PC when he modded his Ridge Racer so the Techno Parrot files don't get erased. So he knows what I'm talking about. And John G, he's joined us. Good to see you, John G. He says CoinOpsX rocks, and it does rock. And Brooklyn's saying Golden Tee plays perfect, and it does. It's so much fun. Like, even when I get off the stream, I'll probably go and start playing Golden Tee again. That's how much fun I'm having with it. And CDN Red Devils joined us. Good to see you. It says, is ALU for me because I'm cheap. And that, you know, I had P-Dubs accused me of being cheap this week. I know he was just joking, but he accused me of being cheap this week because he's like always seeing me trying to save money. And I guess that's what I am, is I'm a cheap buyer, but I'm really just trying to save money. And Brooklyn, ALU allows you to do pretty much whatever you want. And it does. The expandability is so much fun. And the community really gets behind it too. There's so much discussion going on in like the Facebook and Reddit forums. If you ever need something, how I figured out all my troubleshooting steps is I went to Reddit, and Reddit was like my best friend. Brooklyn Menace, iiRcade is better quality, but the games are licensed, so you have to buy them. And that's what we're paying for, those licenses. So next, I wanted to show you guys this 5-inch riser. So I'm 6'4". So instantly when I got this, I went to Buy Stuff Arcades and got this 5-inch. They also make a 3-inch, but I got the 5-inch riser. And these things look perfect. It's molded exactly like the bottom of the ALU. They even went as far as to do the chrome T molding to make it match. So it's like if someone saw this, they would think this is how the arcade came. This wouldn't look like aftermarket or anything. It would match exactly to how it looks, as you can see in this image. And it wasn't that expensive. It was like $65. I got free shipping, no tax. And it'll be here on Tuesday the 9th. So I'll be putting that under it. And I can't wait. I've been playing these games all weekend, and I'm thinking about in the back of my head the whole time, I can't wait for that riser to come, because I'm sitting down to play them right now, and I really like playing these games standing up. So only 2 more days, and I may do some content on this riser, like do a riser video or something just to show it off. And P-Dubs had a comment here. He said, that's true, Biggie D. You are the most frugal guy in this space, laughing out loud. Always cracks me up. Good to see you here. Atran 6'5", so he has the same issues as me. Jason M is 6'2". So we got some tall people in the chat that are all going to be looking for risers like me. Octoman PC, yeah, y'all giants are lucky at 6'2 plus. And Old Man Kaiju has joined us. He said, iiRcade versus ALU, it depends. It's a tough choice. The ALU comes with hundreds of games and lets you cox it. iiRcade has licensed games, both modern and retro. Build quality ALU is better than the arcade one-up, but pales to the iiRcade. Very, very well said, Old Man Kaiju. Very well said. All your points you made there are all extremely accurate and very good points. At games, so I wanted to also show you guys this. This is kind of like my next project. Now that I've gotten through the CoinOpsX build, I'm now going to be working on trying to utilize my send-in light guns for more than just the iiRcade. I want to use them on my At Games Legends as well to play other games. I did notice that Retro Lizard has this retro light gun box you can buy. It's $200. It'll have a lot of the more modern shooting games, more modern than Operation Wolf on this build that you can play. And but it comes in at a pretty hefty price at $200. I have an extra PC. You guys can't see it. It's sitting right down here to the left of me. But it's an older PC with only 4 gigs of RAM. It does run Windows 11 and Windows 10 and all that, but it just barely runs it. and it's so sluggish. It's like I really don't have a use for it anymore. So my next project is to build this on my own PC. So I'm going to go download the build. I'm going to learn how to image the PC with, I think Linux is what it's going to use, and build my own and save the $200. It's going to be a lot of work, but it'll be a lot of fun. Carlos and P-Dubs, I think you got the Wrestle Cab for free. I don't know if he did or not, honestly. And then P-Dubs is saying, Brad, he's responding to Brad's earlier comment. And Octoman PC says, I got a send-in light gun, but I can't get it to work in the front end. So he's possibly referring to this light gun as build as well and trying to get it to run on a similar system like this Linux light gun, Bardacella build, I think it's called. I got to look into all this, but I'll be covering it in my live streams as I do it, so you guys can learn from me if you haven't tried it yet. Now, I also wanted to show you guys this. So this was a crack I had in my marquee in the upper left-hand corner. It might have been from shipping, or it may have came like this from the factory, not quite sure. I know there's several people out there that have extras of these because they bought the bit LCD marquee and they've upgraded it. So there's just tons of these laying around in people's homes, and plenty of people have offered to send me one. I really appreciate that. I think I've asked Brooklyn to send me his. He's just trying to find a box for it right now. And there it is. Bato Sarah. Thanks, Octoman PC. I couldn't say it. Bato Sarah is the build that I'll be looking into for those light guns. And so this was the response. I did contact At Games about it, and I just wanted anyone out there, if you guys are looking at this VIP outlet, they do have excellent prices on the ALU. I actually saw the ALP for $500 as well on eBay. So if you're trying to get a deal on it, just be forewarned and know that your warranty really doesn't exist if you buy it from VIP outlet. So you're getting this incredible deal, but since it's not a preferred retailer with At Games, they're not going to give you free parts basically when you try to do a warranty claim. They're going to want to send you a bill for it because they're not a preferred retailer. So just know that. Luckily, I didn't have any other issues. My screen works, my games work. I didn't have any damage other than the marquee, which is very easy to fix. So I got lucky on that. I just want y'all out there to know this is something, if you're trying to save money and you're purchasing through VIP outlet, that they will not cover these parts through At Games. I do have a sticky note right here, already made right here, because I need to remind myself to contact VIP outlet about my ALU. I'm going to contact them on eBay and see if they have the part or if they can give me a slight discount for the damage. So I'll let you guys know what progress I make on that. Rexer Show's joined us. Good to see you, Rexer Show. Thanks for the shout out during your stream the other day, and your comments as well this week on me being right about the reviews. I was pretty spot on, wasn't I? I typically just try to gather the information by listening to the live streams and then trying to form my own opinion. And sometimes I'll go out on a limb and I'll try to make predictions. And it's really nice when my prediction works out. And it really causes a big ruckus in the community too. These major content creators will go out and literally make these shorts, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but it's really interesting to see the reaction of these other content creators when you come out with accurate predictions like that. Octoman PC, the send-in light gun is a marvel of technology. And Rexer Show says Linux is a great, by the way, Biggie, and it's free. We all love free. You got to learn. You got to do a little bit of work, but you don't have to, spend your hard-earned money. Octoman says, okay, guys, I know I'm being annoying, but if I wanted to make a dedicated gun cab with my sending guns, what is a better choice, iiRcade or ALU? That's a very good question. If you're wanting to do it on your own, and you're wanting to put in the work, I would say an ALU. If you're wanting just a easy plug and play experience where all you do is you buy it and you play it, I would say the iiRcade. They both offer two very different things, and there's a market for both. So everyone will make that decision, and a lot of people will end up buying both. And Octoman says, yeah, because of the bigger screen. And that even when I probably get my light gun set up on my iiRcade, I'll probably still play it through the ALU for the bigger and better screen. And Brooklyn said, because you get every light gun game, only thing is you can't be sure if they will all play well. And that is another really good point. I love that you guys are bringing up these points, because these are ones I wouldn't have thought of on my own. But Brooklyn brings up a really good point in that if you get this Batacella or Bardacella build, hope I'm saying it right, it is not going to play as well as it would on the iiRcade. I've heard like your crosshairs are not as pinpoint accurate as it is on the iiRcade. So if you play Operation Wolf on the ALU, it's not going to play as well as Operation Wolf would on the iiRcade. And that's because they reworked the game, they fine-tuned the game to make sure it was as precise, best precision possible in the shooting games. So that brings up another good point. You're getting a better experience, no doubt about it, with the iiRcade based on the controls, because they're putting in the work behind the scenes where these ROMs and these things we're downloading, they're not expected, and they're not all going to play perfect. Papa Brad's Gaming says the old guard of Arcade 1-Up YouTubers all put Biggie D on blast. And I wouldn't say they all did, Papa Brad. There were just some cryptic type shorts and stuff that were made this week that I believe were referring to me. I'm not quite sure, but it did all make sense that they were about me. Octoman PC says, my sending gun works, but I have to configure it for every single game. And I want to just go into CoinOps or any front end and play. Now, this last big subject I'm going to go over here in this live stream tonight, because we're already here over an hour and 15 minutes, is Police Trainer. So ever since I got CoinOpsX on my At Games Legends Ultimate, it has light gun games in there. And one of the light gun games is Police Trainer. And I had totally forgotten about this game. This is one game, and I always talk about how much I played Operation Wolf in the arcade growing up, but there's one gun game that I played even more than Operation Wolf, and I have even more memories of, but it's been so dang long since I played it, I totally forgotten about it. So when I saw it on the ALU, it totally brought back the memories for me, and it got my brain thinking, this has got to be a new light gun game for the iiRcade. This would be a perfect one to get. It would just be an absolute perfect light gun game. And let's look at it here, guys. So this is just a image of the game when it was released back in 94, I think it was. 96, this game came out. And it came out from a strange developer. I definitely one I haven't heard of. Maybe they're a little bigger than what I think, but they're called PNP Marketing. And I don't know if they just did Police Trainer, but I've never heard of PNP Marketing. I think this may be the only arcade they ever did. But the reason I have so many memories of this game, and it all makes sense when I explain it, is I come from a police family. So my father is retired police. My grandfather is a retired chief of police. My uncles are police officers. My sister's police officers. My cousin's police officers. Everyone is a police officer except for me. So growing up, when we would go to the arcade, my father would always put quarters in this game. He always wanted to play this game. And you always want to play the game your father's playing because you want to be older. You know, you want to be, you want to feel like you're one of the guys, right? You're not a child. So I would always play this one at the arcade. And I have a lot of memories of it. And I just wanted to bring up this quick clip here showing the attract mode because it shows you all the various games you can play, and you have these targets. I remember these really well, these little balls that come up. And I remember how well the graphics looked back in 96 when this game was released. I thought those balls were just amazing and how well they looked, and how they would just go up and down, and you would have to try to shoot them. And then they had all these just various different games you could play. It was so cool. Do any of you guys remember Police Trainer? And do you think Police Trainer would be a good iiRcade game to get? I don't think it would be a hard license to get. I don't think it would be an expensive one, and it would be an incredible, phenomenal shooting game to get. Okay, so Jason's got some good information here. He says, no, PNP also made Bolorama and Sharpshooter. So there's a couple other games out there as well. But I think Michael should be trying to get them on the phone and trying to get this license. And Octoman PC says he just wants a seamless light gun experience. And Brooklyn said, iiRcade if community is important to you. And Papa Brad said, Escape the Popo was so bad, I did not review it. And he's talking about not Escape the Police. He's talking about Escape the Popo is a game that was just released on the iiRcade this last Friday. Didn't look like the greatest game. And CDN Red Devil says it would be huge. I hope he's referring to Police Trainer. This is one that I really wanted to get on the iiRcade when I saw it. But so the last slide I have here, this is just kind of my closing thought for the stream tonight, is if you guys have not gone out and gotten the iiRcade RetroMania, it is $2.99. It ends today. So I think if you go on iiRcade right now, it'll still be $2.99. But at some point that's going to switch over. That could switch over at 12 o'clock Eastern. That could switch over at 12 o'clock Pacific. I don't know. I'm looking it up right now here live, just so I can make sure I'm getting the correct information to you. And it appears that it is still $2.99. Now, I did see Steps Gaming in the chat, and Steps Gaming did give me a nice tip that I wanted to relay to you guys over this live stream. So credit to Steps Gaming for this information. But if you go to Best Buy and you get on their chat, or you call their customer support or customer service, I'm sorry, they will match the $2.99 price with free shipping. So you don't have to pay the shipping, and you can get it at Best Buy. And it may not work on every phone call, or it may not work on every chat. You may have to try a couple times and get a couple different people. But she got them to price match $2.99 at Best Buy. So if you guys are still on the fence and that $100 shipping was like the one thing holding you back, or it was the one thing that was keeping you from buying it, and that's all it was, go to Best Buy and try to get it tonight, because you're getting a killer deal. It's an extremely good deal. They got to be losing money on these, and they're doing that because they want you to buy the games later. And you don't have to buy the games. That's up to you. You can make that decision later. But if you go out and you get this, it's going to come with, I think, 10 or 12 pre-installed games. Some really good games like Double Dragon, Dragon's Lair. One that I really like is Satrin. Twin stick shooter game is free. So go out and get it, because it's got at least 12, 14 free games. I'd have to do a count on how many are free, but there are quite a few on there, and that's all included. And you're also getting RetroMania Wrestling. That's a $30 game. So incredible deal. And I think if you were considering it and you pass it up today, you may regret it, because we may not get a price like that again for a long time. Endangered Dog said, "Sup, Biggie D? Good to see you, Endangered Dog. Glad you made it." We're just about to wrap it up here, but I'm glad you were able to get a comment in and see you in the stream here. Old Man Kaiju, he said, if you could only have one cab, you can't go wrong with either iiRcade or ALU. They both give you great options and ways to expand your games and experiences. And if you can get both, then I would. It's totally worth it. It is. I mean, right now, you could get $2.99 ALU through VIP Outlet on eBay. They're not always running the sale, but randomly they will. I saw it this week on $2.99 again, so just bookmark it. And I was actually going to post that on my community post, but by the time I made the community post, it was already sold out. So that's how quick it goes. You just have to have it bookmarked, and you have to just check daily, and hopefully you're on there quick enough. But you can get an ALU for $2.99. You can get an iiRcade for $2.99 and have two massively incredible arcades for less than what you would pay for a Fast and the Furious. So I hope that really hits home when I say that. And Brooklyn says, when I met Warhorse, he picked up the entire cab to show me his image on the side. And Goofy's talking about Satrin, just how great of a game is. Satrin alone is cab worthy, like Papa Brad is saying. It really is. It's a game I play all the time. Quick, fun game to play, and it's free on the iiRcade. And Rexer's talking about Brooklyn going live tonight. He says he was live earlier, but if you guys haven't seen his Friday night iiRcade stream, it was really good. They had Glen on there. Appreciate everyone who's joined me tonight, guys. It was a lot of fun. I came into today not thinking I was going to have enough prepared for a live stream tonight, but I ended up making it happen. And I was prepared to come on live no matter what. I'm to the point now where I just need to be consistent. I need to come on every Sunday at 7:15 Pacific, 10:15 Eastern, keep the consistency going. Whether or not I have news or have something to cover, I'm going to be here at least for an hour with you guys. So I really appreciate everyone joining, and I'll see everyone next Sunday. Have a good start to the week, and I'll see everyone in the next one. Bye-bye.